All right, everyone, welcome to the IWM broadcast of the Tech for Troops. Oops, I'm sorry. The iNRS Racing Series. I had that on my brain for a moment there. That was last night. The iNRS Racing, the iNASCAR Racing Series. We bring this to you each and every Thursday night. And tonight is our opening night. We are at Daytona for the Daytona 250. I'm Rick Souza here in the booth with my co-broadcasters, Jeff Nini and Sal. Say it again for me, Sal.
Sal Nicosia. That's me.
Sal Nicosia. That is Sal. So a few extra voices here. We'll be together as a group some nights, and just two of us others. But great to have these two gentlemen in the booth tonight, so that we can bring this race to you. And just a word of advice: you're going to see our graphics winking in and out. That's kind of like the wonderful story of we're at the mercy of the software that helps us bring this to you. So we'll do our best to keep you up to date. We may have to be calling out leaders versus having you see that on the screen, but eventually it'll sort itself out.
And that's one of the challenges. The lead changes in this race are going to be frequent, and they're going to happen all night long. So it'll be a tough go to try to keep everybody informed of what's going on, but we will do our best, Rick.
All right, so again, this is Daytona. That's basically, as you can see on the map, it's about 2.5 mile tri-oval with really the ability to go 3 wide, but we rarely ever see it. It's usually a 2 wide race with those heart-stopping moments of 3 wide. Looks like for a weather perspective, we're pretty good. This is a day race here, just like you'll see on Sunday. And temperature and humidity, a little bit sticky today. That should be interesting with an 88% humidity.
Yeah, 70 degrees and cloudy, but yet that humidity's high, like you mentioned. Very little wind, about 10 miles an hour. But we have a 100-lap race tonight. They're going to take a stage break at lap 33. No quick repairs. And on a super speedway like this, that is risky. I mean, these drivers have to take care of their stuff tonight. They've got to keep that car in one piece. The old adage, to finish first, you must first finish. And they're going to have to do that tonight. 6 sets of tires, 75% fuel, and if in case we need them, there's going to be 3 green-white checker restarts available.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and in addition to that, with that 75% fuel, we're calculating up here in the booth somewhere around 30 laps per tank, which should play, interesting with the stage break at 33. These guys are so sophisticated. They set up these stage breaks to basically, you've got to potentially pit at some point prior to that stage break. How you actually make it happen. Now, of course, if there's a caution that happens, prior to that stage break, kind of all bets are off when it comes to fuel mileage.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle tonight. This is the first race of the season, like you mentioned, and to start off on a super speedway is tough. These guys really have to concentrate. Like you said, Rick, the primarily 2 wide racing, but Daytona is wide enough that when things get ready to push and shove, then you're going to see some 3 wide.
Yeah, we raced here last night with the Tech for Troops Cup Series. We had same amount of laps, same style of racing, just 1 caution all night long, and but it was just good, hard racing. And you're right. And when it came down to those last 2 laps, it was every man for himself, and they were door to door all the way to the finish line. We expect to see that here again tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be exciting to watch. It's going to be even more exciting if you're a driver. We'll get a chance tonight, hopefully, to look at some in-car cameras, and you can see how close these cars are to each other, traveling at a slow speed of 180, 190 some miles an hour.
Yeah, we saw a tandem pack last night that did over 207 miles per hour in
Wow.
one lap, so they were smoking it. We do have 40 competitors here. If you follow this league, if you watched last year, you'll see some new names, some new teams. There's a bunch of new drivers out there. We'll try to cover those for you as best we can, but um, we'll get you up to speed as best we can. And we'll probably butcher a name or two. We seem to be excellent at that, so we'll we'll do our best to bring that to you. But thanks again for tuning in to the IWM broadcast. Obviously, we need you to watch each and every week. It's how we judge ourselves and we value our organization. And when you do come back and you're repeat watchers, whether you do it live or you watch it on replay, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, they're still in practice here. We'll see how practice goes. We'll try to refresh our graphics and see if we can make things work and go away.
I think one word that if you want to play a word game tonight, you're going to hear the word draft, and you'll find if you're new to iRacing or NASCAR racing in general, drafting is what happens at super speedways where these guys are bumper to bumper at 200 miles an hour. And the cars behave differently when you're that close and have another car in front of you, and we'll be able to see how they bounce around. But the interesting thing is the qualifying speeds will be much lower than race speeds because people will be driving by themselves. When they draft and they're bumper to bumper, you can go faster because you have two cars displacing the air. And what happens then is one car is pushing, the other car is pulling, and they're getting through the same hole in the air, and that enables them to speed up quite a bit over what you'll see as our qualifying times.
All right, so we still have about 4 or 5 minutes left before practice is done. They'll move on to then qualifying, and then once they're done with qualifying, this league takes a short break of about 5 minutes to have a driver's meeting, and they'll do that each week, and we'll fill that time with hopefully useful facts and information. Not always useful, but sometimes they're facts.
The less useful, the more fun, though, right?
Absolutely, right. Absolutely.
A lot of guys in the pits right now. It seems like everybody's kind of they know what they've got, and they're getting ready for qualifying. So most cars in the pits. There's a few still out on the track. You can see running in groups like that group right there, 3 cars. Another 3-car group behind them that's not quite as well formed. But these guys are getting some drafting practice in before this race begins.
Yeah, we typically, of course, this league does about an hour's worth of practice to give them plenty of time. This is the first race of the official NASCAR season, and also it's timed pretty well with what happens on the iRacing platform itself. So not only do they have this opportunity to race here as a group in their league, it also is something that they can do in the official races on iRacing. So lots of drivers have spent probably a lot of time behind the wheel here at this track.
Like we talked about earlier, the speed differential between qualifying and practice when they're running in the draft. Right now, our fast lap is Matt Parasini with a 46.08. Pretty quick lap. But if he's out there running by himself, he's probably going to be 48, 49, maybe even 50 seconds. So it's going to be interesting to see who actually comes out of here with the pole once they're out there qualifying by themselves.
Absolutely, and then we'll see. As I was saying last night, we saw some extremely fast laps. I think that 207 translated to somewhere about a 45.9 or high 45s in a timer on this track, which is smoking fast.
Yeah, it is.
All right, the drivers are basically just in the pits. They were waiting for this race to officially start. They're taking a breath before they've got about a minute or so before qualifying begins, and they'll get started. But again, we thank you for tuning in tonight and spending your Thursday night with us. Maybe you've got this on. Maybe you're watching the duels happening at the same time. We appreciate you tuning in and watching tonight's event here on the IWM Broadcast Network. All right, that pretty much is close to wrapping up. Well, while they're getting started, why don't we cover tonight's keys to tonight's race?
Sounds good. We talked earlier before the race. I think the first key to the race is going to be staying in the lead draft. One of the things that you'll see as these cars get spread out, for the first part of the race, they'll be all lumped together. And then as you start having pit stops or caution flags and people end up having to sit in the pits and get some work done on their car, things are going to spread out a little bit and people are going to lose the draft. You'll see sometimes guys out there running all by themselves and they're going to be at a 5-second a lap difference. So it's going to be critical to stay with that lead draft.
It is absolutely the case. And we saw that previous races, especially last night. There's so much parity here because they're using a fixed setup. You've really got to differentiate yourself. You've really got to have good drivers that you're working with to draft with to gain any type of advantage coming back. So if you're not in that lead draft, this race is going to be a very long race for you.
Second key to the race tonight, teammates. A lot of these guys have teammates. They kind of divvy up into different teams. So you might have 4, 5, 6 cars in one team, and you'll see those guys trying to find their teammates on the track and draft with them. You have to have friends to win this race. You've got to be able to find out what car pushes well, what car works better in the lead, that type of thing. And you're going to see these guys trying to get together and meet up with their teammates, people that they feel they can trust.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, they already did duels last week, so their starting order has already been set. Gosh, I'm thinking there's qualifying. There's not. So let's go ahead and get going here as these drivers are pulling out and onto the track.
Austin Wheeler is in that first spot in the number 48 car alongside Matt Parasini in the 24 in second. Third position, Eric Jeffers. Fourth is Jordan Wenzel in the 81. Fifth is Lucas Whitehead in the 33. Alongside him in sixth, Mike Campeggio in the 5. Jonathan Varanauskas in the 9. That's a mouthful, Jonathan. Eighth position is Bradley Reese in the 36 car. Garrett Walden in the 43. Shane Trotter in the 38 in 10th. 11th is John Ledger, and alongside him, 12th is Alex Murphy in the 31.
All right, we'll try to speed this up a bit. Joe Musso in 13th, Corey Bunch in 14th, Paul Irvin in 15th, Ron Fitting in 16th, Vince Burns in 17th, Caleb Lamb in 18th, Josh Douglas in 19th, Vernon Broadback in 20th, Corey Annis in 21. 22 is Keith Fonseca, Tony Japs in 23rd, Austin Walton in 24th.
25th is Jay Schultz. Michael Whitley next to him. 27th, Robin Maldonado. 28th, Scott Thomas. 29th, Richard Mills. 30th, Tyler Lame. Tyler Sexton in 31. 32 is Ty Bostic. 33, Jeff Ramsdell. John DeRugeris in 34. Martin Pinnell in 35th. Mike Wheel in the 36th spot.
Try to get these last few. Simon Madgen, 37, Jeremy Coates in 38, Martin Giroux in 39th, and we are now live and underway. Green flag flies here at Daytona.
And Austin Wheeler got out to a great spot in that Smoky Mountain Motorsports car. Got a good jump on everybody and got a tight lineup behind him. Well, at least the first two cars. Everybody else drifted back a little bit.
24 is getting a big push on that outside. I think that's Lucas Whitehead. I'll double check. It may be also the 81. Can't really tell. We got a lot of low-lying clouds and fog here on the track. That low overcast is really playing havoc with our spotter information, but we'll try to bring as much information that we can.
Yeah, that 24 car is Matt Parasini leading that outside line. Austin Wheeler still in first. Oh, now Matt Parasini's pulled ahead with that outside line, getting very organized and making a run for it there.
All right, we are continuing right now. Matt Persini still shows out in front with the 81 of Jordan Wenzel right in behind on that low line. That outside line is definitely forming up, and as we're calling it out, you're seeing changes happening every single second. This track makes that much fun.
The way these guys pass a lot of times is by changing lanes. You see that inside line down there near the bottom of the track. They're very well formed and pulling ahead. But some of the guys that are 7, 8 cars back, they're going to jump in the front of that outside line and see if they can get that line moving and maybe pick up a couple spots that way.
That outside line's falling back a little bit here while this low line gets a lot of gas. These guys are really making some pretty good headway. Let's try to bring up that track information so we can kind of get a feel for just where we are. As you can see, it's a big blob. They're moving together at this early stage here at lap 3.
Yeah, that second line just cannot get the organization to. You can see they're spread out. There's big gaps, and the inside line is tucked in pretty well. And that line is always going to go faster. Whichever line is better organized is going to be the faster of the two lines.
Okay, as you can see, this is stage 1. Was the only stage we've got, and that is headed to lap 33. We'll take a competition caution at that, and they'll award points throughout the year for stage winners and also for the top 10 in the stage.
Now, all of a sudden, that outside line got organized, and they're right back up there in it again. That 48 car of Austin Wheeler, now he has the lead for a couple moments anyway.
Give it a moment. That will change here at Daytona.
It always does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Go ahead, Sal. You were about to say something. We kind of stomped on you.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting to see how that top line really came together. They were hanging back there for a while, and as they got more organized, they came with a full head of steam. Should be really interesting to see how they manage that and how, you see in the center of the field, a little bit of skittering and scattering around, but really getting lined back up here. It's a long race, right, guys? So it's interesting, to see these strategies play out early and how guys will try to work with their teammates and watch out for themselves here as we get into the later stages.
Yeah, this is another one of those leagues where, as part of iRacing and the simulation, in other leagues and also in some officials and unofficial races, if you get into a wreck, if your car is damaged, well, you can just basically go get to the pits and you get a new one. That doesn't happen here. This league, like our Wednesday night series, you break it, you own it. There's you have got to try to get it fixed, or if there's no fixing it, you're done. So there's no quick repairs, there's no fast repairs. You're driving, and you've got to be cautious and conservative to some extent, because it doesn't take much to take out one of these cars.
Oh, that's for sure. It's for those of you that are new to iRacing, these cars are so realistic to what the real life Cup drivers drive on Sundays. The way you can, in some leagues, you can adjust on the cars. They have the same adjustments. This league is running what they call a fixed setup, so all the cars are identical. But the way you can get faster than other cars is by the way, in this particular case, the way you use the draft, by being able to suck up to somebody, knowing when to change lanes, when to stay where you are. Sometimes it's a risk. You'll see sometimes not as much in this league because these guys are pretty experienced. But in some of the newer drivers, you'll see them try to make a daring pass or a lane change, and they end up wrecking nearly half the field. So be interesting to see tonight. You can see it's been pretty tame so far. There haven't been guys doing a lot of risky moves, but it's an interesting psychological battle as much as it is being physical in the race car.
Let's go ahead and jump.
Fun.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Been fun. It's been fun so far. I mean, that 38 car, Shane Trotter, he's poked his nose out to the outside there, almost looking to make a third lane a couple of times, maybe just doing a little reconnaissance to see how many guys he can get to go with him. But interesting to watch that develop as time goes on. It's still real early, but, that three-wide racing is what makes this stuff so exciting in the late stages.
All right, let's go on board with the number 10 of Vernon Broadback, get a feel for just what he is seeing and what he's able to see from his position in the car. Let's get our in-car camera up. There you go. That is Vernon Broadback's shot. Vernon's from Ohio.
Yeah, you can see that outside lane's moving really well right now, but see how much these cars move around.
Let's try to jump into another car that's maybe on the inside lane. Let's see if that's Josh Douglas. Matt Pericini, he was out front leading. Now you just saw I think that's Vernon Broadbeck in the 10. He just dropped down in front, and this perspective, from the driver's perspective, you can see how limited the visibility is. You've got basically your entire windshield is the bumper of that car you're in front of, and in this case, Matt Pericini's job is to push. If that guy in front of him is not pushing the guy in front of him, your job is to push him forward by bump drafting him. And you can do that here in iRacing just like you can do on Sunday.
Just think about trying that at home. Going down the freeway at 200 miles an hour and bumper tapping the car in front of you. It's not something that's for the faint of heart.
Those taps and those bumps are so crucial. The cardinal sin of super speedway racing on iRacing is you can't push the pusher, and sometimes guys get bottled up and bounced around, and that's when we usually see the calamity ensue.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Rick was saying earlier about visibility, a lot of times the guy, like here in the 24 car, he can see the car in front of him, but if there was another car in front of him, he can't see him at all. So he doesn't know if he's pushing the car in front of him, if their bumpers are touching or not. And if he comes up and gives him a shot while the first car is still connected to the bumper, then one of them is going to spin.
And what we're seeing here, you saw a combination of pushing on the backstretch, which is in the big scheme of things, it's easier to do that. But you saw Matt Pericini also doing a bit of bump drafting through the corners, which is super hard to do. And you've really got to be lined up to know just where on that bumper you can touch that car in front of you and where not to touch him, because you could just as easily send him around.
Absolutely. If he hits him too far to the left, if the second car is too far to the left when he bumps him, it's going to push that back end sideways, and it's going to be very hard for that driver to keep that car straight.
All right, we still got basically a gaggle of cars all in one big pack. They're running together. We've had nobody fall off. Everybody is still on the lead lap, and we are at lap 13 of 33 in stage one and 100 overall.
You can see there Vernon Broadbeck in that 10 car is leading the inside line and leading the race right at the moment. And they are stacked up tight behind him. And that second lane had fallen back, but they seem to be trying to regroup and get caught back up there to the front.
We've got one car that is off and not on the lead lap. That is Richard Mills. I believe he has retired from the event. So 39 still remain here at Daytona for the Daytona 250 in the iNRS Racing Series.
It's interesting, the car in last place right now, Jacob Massa in 39th, also has the fastest lap of the race at 46.2. So where you are on the track is not necessarily dictated to by the speed of your car. He could be playing some head games there and just sitting at the back and riding around for a little bit to minimize his chances of getting in a little bit of a skirmish. Outside line has now made it back up to the front, and John, let's see, who's up there now? There, Bradley Reese and Austin Wheeler are trading places now.
A little bit of contact with Vernon Broadback in the 36 of Bradley Reese. I think
You can
Richard
see
Mills
guys are starting to get a little more comfortable here as we're getting along, and the moves are getting a little tighter and the clearances are getting a little smaller. So it's getting to be about time. I know we're only 15 in, but it seems like, there's a few folks exercising that safety strategy in the rear there, setting those fast laps. But the boys up front are playing. It's fun to watch so far.
Yeah, it is.
Richard Mills, who was he may have had a connection issue. He's now back. He's now back in the race, and you'll see that. Obviously, this is a simulation, and you may hear us talk about cars blinking or having a connection issue. We're at the mercy of the internet, and at the same time, the individual driver's connection. So, I tell you, I cannot believe how overcast it is.
Yeah, the fog. I think a lot of that's due to the humidity. You just get so much moisture in the air. It just gives it that gray cast. Makes it difficult to see. Makes it difficult, especially to see the numbers on the cars.
Yep. We're bringing up the weather information. We're now at 97% humidity. Super sticky here in Daytona. Track temperature is cool at 73 degrees. That's not the problem. The problem is our humidity level.
So Bradley Reese and Austin Wheeler still trading first place back and forth. One line will get a run and then fall back a little bit when the other line gets a run. So Lucas Whitehead up there now in the 33.
Interesting. You mentioned all that fog. How will that affect guys who are in the rear of the field that are maybe trying to look up and see what's happening toward the front as their, race advances and they start to make some moves toward the front of the field?
That's a good question. Let's jump on board with the 59 of John DeRudras. He's sitting back in 36th place. Let's see what John sees. Of course, this is at the driver's level, so it's not quite as. But yeah, you can see it right there how low that fog is.
Yeah, and then it seems to get worse up in the, or maybe that's just perspective. It looks worse further out in front of everybody. You can see it going into the corner.
Yeah, our cameras are up high. Those are in higher position, which unfortunately that means they have to peer through that low fog. Here at the driver's level, not quite so bad, but John has got a long way to go to cut his way through a lot of traffic.
Yep, John's a good speedway racer. You and I have both raced with him before. He does a great job. So I have a feeling he's just kind of trying to play it cool right at the moment. Take his time, let things get sorted out, see what he has, see what everybody else has. And I think you'll see John as we get maybe midway through the race trying to move his way forward.
Well, as we said earlier, it is a long race. There's lots of opportunities to hopefully stay out of trouble and to take advantage of other people's trouble and work your way up. But More importantly, it's also going to be about these pit stops and who you're stopping with, whether you make a decision to take tires or not. All will be crucial crew chief decisions to be successful here at Daytona.
Yeah, and those are decisions that are going to need to be made fairly shortly. We're on lap 20 now. We talked earlier about a fuel run being approximately 30 laps. So these guys are probably starting to talk to each other now. They have channels within their Discord where the teams can they can talk to the other drivers that are on their team, and they'll discuss when they want to pit. And when they do, you'll see one of two strategies. You'll either see them all try to get to the low line, or you'll see them all try to get together in both lines so they can just move as a pack down into pit lane.
So the 38 of Shane Trotter dropped down.
Yep, and then went backwards a little bit.
So the outside line's got the outside line's got an advantage. You get the 48 of Austin Wheeler to the outside. He's got Lucas Whitehead behind him in the 33. Josh Douglas up there as well in the 8. Good showing by Josh Douglas.
You guys are talking about pit stops. It'll be interesting to see how some of these guys who are kind of playing it more conservatively in the middle of the pack or the rear, how much fuel are they really using? And will they have the opportunity to spend a little less time in their pit box because of the fuel that they've saved? Every second is precious at Daytona, and getting off pit road, you might see a couple of these cars flip positions based on how much fuel they can save here in the first stage.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll also probably see these guys only taking 2 tires on this first pit stop. Daytona doesn't, because of the wide sweeping turns, it doesn't use rubber as much as some of the other shorter tracks. But a lot of times guys will use the strategy of they'll change the left side on one pit stop and the right side on the next pit stop, and saves them a little bit of time on pit road doing that as well.
So we're just 10 laps away from our first stage break at lap 33. Again, we're not exactly sure how it's all going to play out. Our fuel mileage calculator said they need to stop once before that stage break. That may or may not be the case. We believe it is, but then again, as we were talking about earlier, if you're the guy out front, that accelerator pedal is mashed to the floor. You're going to be pretty much using your engine at its full speed. But if you're 2 or 3 cars back and in the draft, you're able to leverage that, and you're not running full throttle. That means you're saving a bit of fuel.
Yeah, you know what? That could be a strategy some of these guys at the back are using. They may try to just kind of milk it and limp along and go the full 33 laps on one fuel run. And even though that's got them at the back, the people that have to stop and take on fuel before that are going to end up coming out behind them.
Oh, here we go. A number of drivers. Yeah. So I saw someone pulling off. That's the 10 of Vernon Broadbeck. We did see Vernon up front. And a number of drivers are in. Jay Schultz, Tyra Lem, Tony Japs, Jeff Ramsdell is on pit road. Let's see if we got some cameras there on pit road. Oh, someone spun on pit road.
Yeah. Pit road speed here is 60 miles an hour. So think about that. You're trying to go from 200 miles an hour down to 60 miles an hour and do it in the shortest amount of time possible. And that can lead to disaster. Here's another group of cars coming into pit now.
Big group of drivers coming in. While I'm on pit road, you got Matt Perosini, who was a leader, Jordan Wenzel, Eric Jeffers, Walden, Ledger, Whitley, Bunch, Bostic, Jerugeris, Mike Wheel, and Jacob Musso, all on pit road. We'll follow Jordan. Well, that's the 12 of Eric Jeffers and Matt Perosini.
Like you guys were saying before, so crucial to make sure you're coming in with a group you trust, hopefully. That's why I see a lot of teams pitting together. Because once you get back out there, you don't want to be the runt of the litter at the back of the pack there, just chasing your own tail.
Well, and that's the other thing. Knowing when to come in and the decision you're going to make is super critical. You don't want to be the first in. You don't want to be the last in. You got to find the right spot, that sweet spot, when to come in. Got the group of drivers in. Mike Campeggio, Joe Musso, Caleb Lamb, Corey Ennis, and Robert Maldonado is in on pit road. All right, back up with our leaders. We'll see where we're at and dealing with the fog. And as you can see on our track map, and you can see where those drivers are as we're following them around, you can see the field has kind of broken up. Those drivers who took that first pit stop somewhere around lap 24, they're working their way back. Got drivers at 26. And here's the rest of the field.
That's a big group coming down
That is
pit
a
road
big
right
group.
there.
Boy, I'll say.
Watching the 48. And these pit stops, as you'll see here, they're fuel only. They're somewhere between 6 and 8 seconds long. It's basically just getting their fuel. There you go.
And it's a good thing to keep an eye on too, as these cars try to re-enter the field, keeping up with that track map. It can get a little spooky down there as you're trying to re-enter, as the field flies by you, a full pack at 200 miles an hour. But hopefully these guys keep their eyes open in all this fog and avoid any issues as everybody gets back into formation here.
All right,
Yeah,
go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say, you see the 46 car, they're coming out right in front of that big pack, and that outside line just sweeps past him. Looks like everybody goes to the outside to avoid him. If he's lucky, he'll be able to drop in behind them and stay with that group.
So that puts Vince Burns and Austin Walden are now leading. You've got Keith Fonseca there as well in the 61. Jordan Wenzel to bring up our current with just 4 laps to go before our stage break.
We were talking about John DeRugeris a little earlier, being in last place. I think he was in 39th at the time, last of the cars that were on the track. And through this sequence of pit stops, he made his way up to 17th. So he certainly used these pit stops to his advantage in getting track position.
Absolutely huge move. That's nearly 20 car lengths, 20 car positions he's picked up just on that one pit stop.
Yeah, I think the guy that has gained the most positions is Simon Magin. He's up 25 spots. There's several in the 12 to 18 range, but Simon's now it's 24, but he's made great ground. Simon's running for Rumble Racing up to 12th position.
Yeah, look at your leader, Keith Fonseca. He was in the 61. He's up 21 spots and now leading with just 3 laps to go in this stage.
Yeah, and second place is just the opposite. Jordan Wenzel, he's only gained 2 spots, so he would have started in 4th position. Now John Ledger's up in 4th position. I don't know how he did that.
Yeah, John started in 11th. He's plus 7.
Yeah.
That's a tight group right there. This is your lead pack. A little bit of a waggle. We did talk about coming out of turn 2 and coming out of turn 4 with this aero package. If you're in the draft and you've got someone close, the side draft in this aero package that iRacing has released that mirrors the actual Cup cars is incredibly strong. So that's something these drivers have to be aware of, because you can definitely, as these drivers are side by side, the impact that that 7 has on the 81 right up front makes a huge difference. You can really take the air off that car and gain an advantage.
Yeah, and kudos to iRacing. They don't just design the cars and the tracks and then walk away and do something else. They have teams that are just constantly updating these. It seems like almost every time you fire up iRacing, get on the computer, that there's an update to do. And like you just said, they made a big change in the aero package on these cup cars. And these guys are learning to use it to their advantage.
So what will happen is this: they'll run all the way through lap 33, and at the end of this lap, they will throw a competition caution and give everybody a chance to come back in, reset, and then head back out.
Interesting to see the strategies here if people do decide to stay out during the competition caution, trying to get more position back.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of that. At least some of the cars that I was paying attention to, they spent a lot of time on pit road, so you could tell they had to be filling up their tank. They were taking on a full fuel load, so I don't see those guys coming in at all.
Caution flew, and you saw that very end there, the huge jostling for position. Every point counts here when you're making the playoffs. If you don't get the win, you want to point yourself in. It could be nothing more than 1 point that puts you in or keeps you out. So every point matters here in the iNRS Racing Series.
Yep, here we are at the stage break with Matt Parasini leading the pack. Caleb Lamb in second. Garrett Walden was in third. They moved around a little bit. He and Vince Burns were trading positions there. Jordan Wenzel, then Austin Walton in sixth. Joe Mossow in seventh, Corey Ennis in eighth, Keith Fonseca in ninth, and Ty Bostic was up there in 10th. Now he's up to ninth. So these guys are moving around a little bit. We'll see what the official positions are here shortly.
All right, I think we're trying to catch up to the pace car here as these guys are working their way around. Here we go. They caught the pace car in the middle of the backstretch. That's always a challenge on a track like this or Talladega. Whenever that pace car joins and you happen to be, already past his starting position, you've got a solid lap and a half at full speed to motor back around to catch up to the pace car. And then all of a sudden, you're gone from 200 miles an hour to 60 in like a blink.
Yep, those cars in front of you, you're looking at them out the windshield, and they look like a speck in the distance, and then all of a sudden you're slamming on your brakes to try to get stopped before you plow into them. I remember when I first started iRacing, I didn't get that. And 2 races in a row, I just plowed into everybody before I figured out what was going on and learned how to use a track map.
All right, the field is coming down onto pit road. You'll see pretty much everybody,
and
I think, is just
they all made
this.
liars out of me, didn't they? Keep an eye on that 24 car there. Oh, putting left side tires on. Both those cars are. Yeah. Getting a little bit of fuel and then rolls out. Get that tank good and full. You still got 64 laps to go or so.
Yep, just lap 36 of 100. But our competition caution is done, so now it's pretty much racing towards the end. And again, as we talked about, a rookie in this league is John DeRudris. John started back at the tail end of the pack, and he'll be coming out, I think, in 17th, so about mid-pack.
And those are the type of strategy calls as you're going in and out of the pits throughout a long race like this, that you're taking small bites. You see a lot of the guys that started up front still hanging out up front. The 24 Matt Pericini, still out there leading that flame schemed number 24 car. But interesting to see how drivers like John are gonna try to get up and give him a run for his money here.
One of John's teammates is Ty Bostic. Ty started back in, I think he was back in 31st, 32nd. He's now 32nd. Up to 5th.
Yeah, he's got the biggest gains, 27 positions he has gained in this race, and that's tops. That's a great run by Ty.
Absolutely. Looks like we've got one car, and that's the 77 of Corey Bunch. I'm not showing he is in the field right now. There was not an incident that I'm aware of. It may have been a connection issue, but unfortunately, Corey Bunch, main player, a big player here in this league, driver with a lot of experience and wins under his belt, is currently not showing in the event at the moment. Yeah,
he's 8 laps down and dropping one every time they make it around.
Looks like
one of those cat on the keyboard situations or something. As the connection drops out on him, that's unfortunate for him.
All right, field is forming back up, and the lights are off on top of our pace car, which means we'll be going back to green flag racing next time by. Again, take this moment to thank you for tuning in. Good group of viewers here on our YouTube channel. So much appreciated here for the first race of the iNRS Racing Series. We thank you for tuning in. On behalf of Sal and Jeff and myself, we really appreciate you listening to us each Thursday night, and hope to see you next week.
It's going to be a really interesting season because these guys mirror the Cup schedule. And so we're going to see every time there's a plate race, super speedway, short track,
I think we
cutter.
Yeah, I think we only cover a one or so road courses, but I think we bring Watkins Glen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we'll be in Mexico.
No budget for the airfare.
No budget for Mexico.
The logistics just didn't make sense for these guys.
It did not. All right, pace car's about to drop off, and we'll get this back underway. Matt Pericini is in charge. He's elected to stay in that low lane. Entering the Geico restart zone, and we are back underway here at Daytona.
Nice jump by Matt Pericini in that 24 car. Followed closely by Garrett Walden in the 43. That second line just did not get the jump that the inside line did, but you'll see them form up here pretty quickly, and it'll be just like we saw early in the race, where they'll pretty soon they'll be trading positions. And didn't take long. Now that outside line is in the lead.
Yep, Caleb Lambs dropped down and put the 48 of Austin Wheeler up on the high side. This is a great race. This is, it's funny, NASCAR is one of those few sports that runs pretty much one of the most exciting races as the first race of the season. Same thing here as we mimic that same schedule with the iNRS Racing Series. If you pull off a win here, you've punched your ticket into the playoffs, and that's, 28 races to go. So you can check the box here and then just work on your racecraft. That takes the pressure off.
Oh, yeah. Makes a big difference to the driver in a situation like that.
They are 3 wide in the back of this field. Well, maybe they settled down. They were 3 wide for a moment there. I think it may have been that same 38 car, because Shane Trotter is not afraid to go 3 wide.
Oh, somebody down on the apron there.
John down on the apron there for a second. Something's going on. Well, after a good run there, he's fading back. Maybe he saw there was a little too much heat there with the 3 wide business and decided to get out of there. 6 cents.
I'm not sure what happened, but he's definitely way off the pace.
Oh yeah, he's down to third, last position of car.
I think the only car behind him is Richard Mills as he's going around, but definitely something happened to the 59.
Quick update too. Corey Bunch in the YouTube chat had a little bit of an incident, I guess, where guys were checking up and tapped into somebody, gave him a meatball. So he is retired because of a meatball flag tonight.
Well, that's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
that's a shame for Corey.
Usually Corey Bunch is one of the top drivers in this series, and shame to not see him out there.
Yeah, John has, looks like he's probably lost the draft. He's about 8 seconds behind the car in front of him and falling back rapidly.
It'll be interesting to see as we're, 40 laps in here, almost halfway, when guys will finally start to make some of these moves. There's still plenty of time to do this riding around business and get yourself in a position to do that. But I keep thinking back to that little peak on 3 wide that I see from the 36 car back there. Going to see more of that hopefully here in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's they're going to they'll get tired of just riding around. They even though this is exciting, it's nerve-wracking, but these guys, they're all racers. They want to get to the front. Nobody wants to ride around at the back for very long anyway. So the closer we get to the halfway and then the 3/4 mark, you're going to see the intensity ramp up a little bit.
So we're doing our best to pick some of our lower position cameras to try and get you a better shot at this race. This is part of our crank it up cams that we've got.
Well, you can actually see the speed on that camera. Those cars are just flying by you.
It's fun to get that low down view, really understand what 200 miles an hour looks and feels like. Even in a simulation like this, I mean, these things are hauling the mail. It is a fast track, a fast group of cars here, especially in the draft.
Absolutely. Austin Wheeler in that 48th is still leading the way. That outside line's got a good head of steam. They're well organized. They've got more cars in that lane and doing a good job at staying up there. Lucas Whitehead's following him. Vince Burns there in third. And then behind that, they start mixing it up a lot. But those 3 guys are been pretty well fixtures here for the last few laps.
So right now the shot is from Caleb Lamb's number 7. You can see just by watching the car in front of him, just the amount of movement that's happening. That's Joe Musso in front of him. And he's got obviously the car in front of him. There's a lot of lateral movement here just from Aero.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, if you're in the car, like the car that we're in right now, the 7 car of Caleb Lamb, if he tries to chase that car in front of him, all of a sudden it's like he's chasing his tail, because right as that car moves, he tries to chase him, tries to follow him, and then that other car moves back down again, and then all of a sudden these guys just look like drunks on the freeway. But it's trying to stay behind him, but yet keep your car under control and don't get in the habit of just chasing him around the track.
It's like you were saying before, that air moves these cars around so much, just chasing. But even without making contact or running inches, side by side with someone, as you're getting closer to that car in front or separating a little bit, the aerodynamics change, and that wheel can get a little squishy in your hand, or it can firm up in a real hurry, and you really have to be ready to hang on there and make sure you're making the corners.
All right, that's 46 laps in the books. We're rapidly coming up to halfway here at Daytona in the iNRS Racing Series.
We were talking at the beginning of the race, keys to the race. Number 2 was teammates, and that's what we have leading the race right now. Austin Wheeler and Lucas Whitehead, both driving in the Smoky Mountain Motorsports team. So those two guys have found each other, and I don't know if there's any other. I don't see anybody else in that team, so that may just be a 2-car team. But they're making the best of it, running 1 and 2 right at the moment.
Well, it's always an advantage if you're a team and you can control the race at the front. Interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they're communicating with each other on their own and maybe developing a strategy based on the position they find themselves in here as we get close to halfway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fog's a little thick through there.
Boy, I'll say that's crazy, isn't it?
You could cut a hole in that fog.
We need to.
Yeah. I'm trying to look down through here. Oh, way back in 22nd and 23rd, we have 2 teammates running together. Grease Monkey Motorsports, Ron Fitting and Tyler Sexton are running together, and then that's about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure all of the telemetry information is correct with their teams. I'll double check that and get us a breakdown.
I did find one more Grease Monkey Motorsports. There are the 88 car Richard Mills is 3 laps down, and then his closest teammate to him is up in 23rd, Tyler Sexton. So those guys have they've kind of struck out on the teammate advantage here.
So you got a third line forming there in the middle there, about halfway, mid-back. An interesting play.
Yeah, they're trying to decide what to do. Do I commit to a third lane, or do I just kind of hang out and move around a little bit?
Well, that's always the trick of it, right? You come up out of your spot and try to make a new path, but by the time you look to go back to that spot, it's gone in the blink of an eye. So once you commit, it's tough to take it back.
Yeah, you're right. And then sometimes guys will think somebody's going to follow them if they make a move, and they get out there to that third lane, and then nobody goes with them, and then they're really hung out to dry.
All right, that's the halfway point. If you can see it, we can't. That's it's a little bit hazy on the track. If that weather information has changed at all. Oh yeah, it's now 100% humidity.
It's so appropriate for Florida, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So one of the things that you can do within iRacing is the weather. Now, for road courses and in different series, not just NASCAR, but in an F1 style, they actually have rain and other weather features that play havoc with your track. We don't actually have rain and rain tires here in the NASCAR series, but the other part of that is they have the ability to have dynamic weather. So that means that the weather that is actually happening in that zip code, in that area where the track is, can actually be translated and show on your race. So
that's made a lot of sport car racing, that if you're interested in those types of series, made a lot of sport car racing fun. Some of the endurance races have been really interesting to watch across these series, as that dynamic weather feature has been developed by iRacing. So, in one corner it's raining at big tracks like the Nürburgring, and in the other corner it's sunshine, which, we even see that here at Daytona sometimes, but hopefully not tonight.
So right now in Daytona Beach, Florida, it is 67 degrees, but 92% humidity. I think that's what's driving our humidity here tonight.
And it is certainly making it difficult to see from some camera perspective. Some of them, that one wasn't too bad, but this one, that's just awful. You can barely make out the cars.
Yep, absolutely.
And as they get closer to you there, it's a little bit better. But those long shots, the cameras are having to see through so much moisture before you get to the cars.
Yeah, under these conditions, if you're actually in a spotter position, it must be terrible to try and see your car.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta have real bright numbers on the sides and the roofs for the spotters in the real world situations, right?
That's right. So that's actually the shot from the spotter's booth.
Wow.
Spotting with one hand tied behind your back and a blindfold.
Yeah. This is the longest we've seen one line hold serve. That outside line with Austin Wheeler and Lucas Whitehead from Smoky Mountain Motorsports, they're just cruising out there now. That inside line doesn't appear to have anything for them.
Nope, just good. That's good work between, Austin Wheeler and Lucas. They're staying good together, getting a good push. You got Vince Burns right back there in the 55. Jai Schultz. They've been pretty much nose to tail, and that has helped to propel that outside line to nip away and be the fastest line.
And it's not for a lack of trying. That bottom line is building a little bit of steam here as they get more cars in that line to try to challenge these Smoky Mountain Motorsports cars that are just kind of having their way with things out front on the high side.
It'll be interesting to see if, as that inside line catches those guys up front, are we going to see Austin Wheeler and Lucas Whitehead move down to the inside line to keep the lead, or are they going to stay up there and ride it out? Whatever they do, I'm going to bet they're going to do it together.
So here's an interesting fact. So John DeRudris in the 59 is, you can see that yellow dot as he's working his way coming out of 2 in the track map. He's by himself. So his last lap by was a 50.63. Your leader, Austin Wheeler, his lap was a 48.20. So really about nearly a 2.5 second advantage being in the draft versus not.
Yeah.
It's not quite curtains for John yet. As long as he can stay kind of in the mix here, maybe as we have guys start to get a little more aggressive, there might be an opportunity for him to kind of catch up with the rest of the field by way of a flag or a stage break. But it's always tough when you're out there by yourself. Just kind of wish you had, wish you had an oar just paddling along there trying to catch up to everybody.
That's what he's doing. He's just kind of pedaling and just biding his time. He needs a caution to come out so he can catch back up to the field.
Yeah, he's nearly a half lap down, so he still has quite a ways before he's going to be in danger of getting lapped. I think we're going to see pit stops long before that, and maybe that'll give him the opportunity.
I think pit stops are due pretty much any time. So now, though, if you figure you're going to do 30 laps, that means out of that 100, you want to be able to get to lap 70. Clearly, you can't. So whatever they do now, they'll have to stop one more time. Well, this time and then one more to be able to get around this track. So my guess is that we'll start to see pit stops at any time after lap 60.
It'll be interesting to see those Smoky Mountain Motorsports guys who are out front, work together on their pit stop, getting off that high line, coming down. If the bottom line does happen to gain a little bit more momentum here as guys start to look to the pits.
Yeah, so there's a chance that you can get to lap 30, 60, 67, but that's not enough to get to. Well, they may gamble. They may just say, we're going to stay out as long as we can till our tank is bone dry, and then come in because they have an opportunity potentially.
Yeah, there's a lot of different strategy plays here. We were talking about John DeRugeris back there in 38th right now, running by himself. The downside for him is when you're out there running by yourself, you're flat-footed. You're burning max fuel every lap, just like whoever's running in the lead right now. And so he's not going to be able to stretch that and use that as an advantage like he could when he was running in the pack at the back.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire a little bit for him.
Yep. We're going to be starting lap 60 here, and right there we started it. And John has lost ground. He is less than half a lap lead, or more than half a lap behind now. So that pack is catching him fairly quickly.
Well, if you just do the math, if he's losing 2.5 seconds a lap and then going around in 50, 25 laps, you're pretty much in trouble.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably a little too soon to be using the phrase lap traffic right now, especially with the fuel situation for everyone here. But one other thing, I mean, these guys have been very well behaved here in this pack from the top to the bottom after, that competition caution. We saw a little bit of 3 wide there for a moment or two, but just kind of single, double file here as they're working their way around. It's been kind of a refreshing experience if you've been in some of these Daytona lobbies out there on iRacing this week.
Well, they know that this is a long race, but more importantly, it's a long season, and the last thing you want is a DNF.
Yeah, those are hard to recover from. You go so far behind points wise that it's especially guys like Corey Bunch who are used to running up front, and to get a DNF and finish dead last in this race, it's going to take him quite a big part of the season to get caught back up.
Yeah, my goal has always been finish the race and finish on the lead lap. That's half the battle all in itself.
Oh yeah, if you can do that, all season, you're going to be up there near the top.
Yeah, consistency is always going to be the winner here.
Yeah, not always quite as sexy as running out front in this kind of 1-2 style as these guys are doing right now, but tell you what, it compounds over the weeks, like you guys said. It'll keep you in the mix, that's for certain.
Yep.
It's quite a conundrum though. That bottom line has a lot of cars, but just can't seem to form up close enough to one another to really get a big run. And kind of gapped out toward the back of that bottom line there. They're losing ground, it looks like, actually.
Yeah, John DeRugeris just made his pit stop. So
probably a wise move.
Went a lap down doing it, but he was probably burning a lot of fuel.
I like that play, though. I mean, you come in early, you get your fuel, you go to your comp caution, you get your lap back on, as a lucky dog, and maybe you do end up kind of back in the mix here for the third part of this race.
Yeah, I wish there was another stage break for a competition caution. It's a one and done here with this league. They got that one stage break. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean. So he had a number of choices to make. Obviously, John made the best decision he made at the time. He could have waited a bit, but when you're running out there by yourself, you're running at max, max throttle. So he's going to burn more fuel than in the draft somewhere.
And better to go a lap down now than late in the race, because he's got time to for a caution to come out. He's the only car one lap down. He still has a good chance to get back onto the lead lap eventually here.
A couple of these lines sliding around now. We have the leaders down, taking a look at the bottom line here. Maybe they see something. They like it a little better as that bottom line forms up.
Probably getting ready to pit, too.
There they go.
There they go. That shakes up the order a little bit. we'll let things get sorted out before we start talking about who's on first.
You're watching the 48 of Austin Wheeler here on pit road. Here comes the rest of that group that stopped. They took fuel and at least one side of tires. Got more in. Got Corey Ennis, Caleb Lamb, Joe Musso, Mike Wheel, and Jacob Musso on pit road. But that puts Jonathan Varanauskis out in front and getting an opportunity to lead a lap. That's, if you get a chance to lead a lap, that's a point. So
there's no better place if you're not familiar with the front of the field to get those points and to lead a few laps to do that than at a super speedway like this on strategy. It's a nice little advantage that some of these drivers might take advantage of to get themselves set up for the rest of the year.
all right, pit stops are underway. Another group has made their way down onto pit road. Here we are at lap 67 again. So you're saying there's a chance, but I don't think that there's a chance to go 33 plus laps on one tank of fuel. But you never know. You never know. We saw races all last season where the driver who was able to save fuel won the race.
Yeah, and there were several races where the leaders weren't running full throttle. Just trying to time things to where, either save on one pit stop or save fuel. It was really interesting when we would see them do that.
The number of drivers in this field are experts at fuel saving, but again, this track definitely plays havoc with trying to do that when you're in a draft or you're running out in front. You need to be on the throttle.
And we're going to see these guys pushing the limits here, as you said. A lot of fuel saving strategy, a lot of making sure that you're, as we say it, right? Here they come down pit road.
Yep. Yeah, your leaders are all coming in now.
Well, you've also got Martin Pinnell. Martin's on pit road, but Martin came in by himself. Hopefully, he can come out with this group.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest group that we've seen pit on this run.
And it's a pit party down here. I mean, everybody's going to come out and be able to, hopefully stick with each other here, utilize that draft. So we're going to see some changes here, though, at the front as this group comes back out. That 31 car, Alex Murphy, was in the middle. He was the meat of the sandwich in that front group as they came to pit road. And there he is, stuck himself out front.
The last three cars who have not pitted are on pit road. They made it to lap 69. So 30.
Sitting here watching the leaderboard, and Austin Wheeler and Lucas Whitehead were towards the back of the pack. Now all of a sudden they're back up in 4th and 5th spot. So things are shaking out.
I think for the most part, guys, this is going to be the last stop of the night.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they may be able to make it.
This is high time. You're going to see guys starting to make those moves, and the haymakers will start to weigh in here. 30 to go. You want to set yourself up for those moves now if you can. So might be the last fuel stop. It might not be the last yellow we see.
Yeah.
certainly a possibility. So you got a number of drivers out in front. Austin Wheeler, Lucas Whitehead. We saw them up at the front before. They're back up, but they pitted last on lap 64. That last group that pitted was able to stretch out 34 laps on that set of on that last tank of fuel. That puts, if I take that 34 to that 64, that puts you at 98. So they're hoping to see something that can help them save a little fuel. But now right behind them, Alex Murphy, Simon Magin, Jonathan Varanauskas, those guys pitted on lap 68. They've got enough fuel in this stop to make it around.
And we're starting to see teammates pair up too. Austin Wheeler, Lucas Whitehead in first and second are Smoky Mountain Motorsports. Right behind them in third and fourth, Vince Burns and Vernon Broadbeck are Roadrunner Motorsports. And then positions 7, 8, and 9, Alex Murphy, Simon Magin, and Jonathan Varanauskas, all three with Rumble Racing. So we're starting to see teammates getting together, and they're probably going to stick together now for the remainder of the race.
It'll be interesting to see how these teammates work together. Like you said, guys who are in need of some fuel savings, that's all a part of the strategy, and maybe your teammates can help you out there. And as you have those communications as we get further along here, the last thing you want is to lose spots because you're short on fuel.
It'd be interesting because the 48 and the 33, the way they have been running, the 48, I think, has always been the lead car of the two. So he's going to be burning more fuel than his teammate. Sometimes you'll see guys try to flip-flop the lead when they can. And it gives both cars a chance to save fuel.
Yeah, you're spot on. I have not seen that 33 swap spots with him, even that whole last run that they were up at the front. So maybe there's a little bit of comfort if he does decide to take his foot off the gas a little in the corners to save a little, knowing he's got his teammate behind him. But tough to do that with everybody else behind him. So
yeah. Yep, now there's really no inside line to race against. It's those two cars that are back their ways. So and now's a good time for him to be able to do that. Just lift a little bit in the corners. You know, you save a few ounces here, a few ounces there. That adds up over time.
Yeah, and the way his teammate's going to push him too, helping him save a little bit. If he can come off the throttle, his teammate burns a little extra just by giving him that extra shove. Those little drops will be sloshing around there at the end, looking to take him the rest of the way.
Yeah.
All right, we're 3/4 of the way through. Lap 74 is rapidly coming to an end here as these drivers, Austin Wheeler in the lead, brings them to the start-finish line. Just 25 laps to go here at Daytona.
We had our eye on John DeRugeris in that 59 car earlier, talking about what his strategy may or may not be. Well, now John finds himself the second car a lap down. So at this point, he doesn't even have the luxury of getting the lap back in case of a caution.
Just got to finish it. Just got to finish this one out.
Absolutely.
Keep it in one piece.
Yep.
So what we have seen here is after these couple of pit stops that the field has broken up into 3 very distinct packs. You've got this group at the front here, about 10 to 12 cars. Then you've got the second group back here. That's Ty Bostic, John Ledger as well, Eric Jeffers, Scott Thomas. Then there's a third group that's farther back with the 79. That's correct.
Yeah, that looks like the biggest group, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's Scott Thomas, Mike, Josh Douglas, Martin Giroux, Shane Trotter. They're all in that backpack there. Tight. They're too wide So that's a challenge for this group. They're back here. You can see this is the third pack that we're showing you. You got groups out front. That's Scott Thomas in the 79. You've got the 5 of Mike Campeggio, and then you've got Josh Douglas right there, and Martin Giroux. But then behind them, they're all too wide and very disorganized. That is not doing themselves any favors to try and catch up that lead pack.
Looks like they're listening to the broadcast, because now they're starting to form up into one line. And there they are. Last car got in line, and now they're going to try to make a run.
There you
Yeah,
go.
they must have had ESP or something, because as soon as you said it, they were shuffling their way to get in line with each other.
I think they've got the broadcast on in the FM radio inside the car there.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible. All right, well,
There you
back
go.
up front, Austin Wheeler continues to lead, and this lead pack is extremely organized.
Yeah, just counting down the minutes until you see somebody take a shot at this to form up that second line. Who will go with someone? You know, you don't want to pull out of this line because you'll go right to the back.
Yep.
Yeah, I expect to see that right around, with 2 laps to go, we'll see a little bit of jostling, but the biggest moves you will see is coming out of turns 3 and 4 on that final lap. That is when it's all about yourself. It's either, it's depending on your strategy, it's either checkers or wreckers.
That's what's given, Austin Wheeler and Lucas Whitehead have such a command on this because of the run you're going to get out of 3 and 4. And some drivers will try to back up and back up to the guy behind them and get a run or get out a little further to pull the guy behind them. And, usually you're dealing with somebody maybe you don't know. But these two, part of that Smoky Mountain Motorsports team together, they'll be able to kind of have the control there and be able to, block as they see fit and get runs as they need and try to fabricate a kind of their own slingshot moves to get themselves even further out to the front if they see challengers in their rear view mirrors.
All right, just 22 laps to go here at Daytona in our inaugural race of the 2025 season in the iNRS Racing Series. Again, thank you for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you joining us live, and you can always go back and watch it on replay on our YouTube channel. And if you get the opportunity, we'd love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay up to date with what happens on Thursday nights here in the iNRS Racing Series. But also we've got a similar series on Wednesday nights, which is our Tech for Troops Cup Series. Also, they'll be at not always the same track, but a similar track, different drivers. We were with them last night covering their event here at Daytona. Man, they've got some great drivers in that league as well, similar to this. Nearly caution-free, just one caution the entire night, and great side-by-side battles like you've seen here. So tune into both Wednesdays and Thursday nights, and get your NASCAR fix on.
We talked at the beginning about the 3 keys to the race, and all 3 of those have been key elements tonight. Staying in that lead draft, and we're seeing that now, where the group is broken up into 2 or 3 different groups, and it's the lead group that has the definite advantage. We're seeing teammates sticking together, finding each other. Now here, 20 laps to go. Now this is going to be even absolutely key. And then the third one, pit strategy. And that's what enabled a lot of these cars to get to where they are right now. They had good pit strategy, or maybe some of them had not so good pit strategy and fell by the wayside. But these guys up in this front pack, starting with Austin Wheeler and Lucas Whitehead, they have been able to hit on all 3 of those. And it's made a big difference in their race.
I'll tell you what, real quick, that second group is catching in a hurry. Watching the timing and scoring on the 79 of Scott Thomas, he is making up a tremendous amount of time the last lap and a half or so here, about a half a second's worth, as that group seems to be putting something together. They're still about a second behind the leaders, but...
Oh, no, they're right there. You're absolutely correct. You can see it on the track map, all the groups have caught up and
Yeah.
are just fractions of a second off here.
Going to make things real interesting if that second group can get a line.
Oh,
And we got a
caution's
caution.
out. Caution's
Oh.
out. Tony Japs possibly involved. Wish I could see exactly what just happened there, but we'll do our best to. The 51 is involved. The 42, Keith Fonseca, Tyler Sexton, Paul Irvin, all involved in this event. It's our big one. Let's go back and take a peek here with just 18 laps to go. This completely resets the field. So.
Unfortunate for those guys. There's going to be a few who are breathing a sigh of relief, I'm sure.
You can see a little bit
it looks
off.
like somebody got down below the apron, down below the double yellow line, tries to come back up.
Here we are. So you see the 51 of Irvin there. And I'm not sure who that's in front of him. Let's back it up just a little bit here. Oh, yeah. So the double yellow line is an indicator between the racing surface and the apron, and there is a degree of banking that will just upset the car as your wheels drop down below that line. So you can see that car. I'm not exactly sure who that is. Anybody got eyes on that?
The 50. I believe that's the 50 car.
And it happens at the steepest part of the banking there. All of a sudden, he's going downhill fast.
Yeah, trying to get back on that bottom line is tough.
So that is the 50 of Martin Giroux.
And 50, you can see the 51 blowing up, trying to give him room to get in there.
But he's still not. He's still all over the place. He has not regained, and now it's stacking up behind.
Yeah, the 51 trying to do the right thing there and check up so he doesn't put the 50 up into the wall, but the stack up there just was unavoidable. And then a calamity ensues as guys lock it down, and oh boy, quite a mess.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of guys in the pits now.
It'll be an interesting chance to see as guys come and get fuel. They needed it anyway, right, guys? So be fun to see how everybody's going to get fueled up. Maybe some lucky dogs get their spots back, and how this one shapes up with 17 to go.
All right, 17 laps to go. We've just got pretty much the entire field either has made their way on or is currently on pit road as we speak. Right now, Vince Burns in the 55 is shown as your leader. Vernon Broadbeck will be in second. They'll start side by side. So someone posted in our YouTube channel, Smoky Mountain gonna win this. Wheeler and Whitehead just too good. Yep, I think that they definitely stand a chance, but this caution may just shake things up.
Yeah, it really separated those two guys. Whitehead's in 4th, and Austin Wheeler's in 12th. So it's going to be a little difficult for those guys to get back together again. Not impossible by any means, but this did a number on a couple different teams. But now Roadrunner Motorsports is up there in 1st and 2nd. Vince Burns, Vernon Broadbeck. They're going to be in good shape, I think.
Lights are out on the pace car. The 59 got a wave around. I think both the 59 and the 72 make their way towards the back of the field.
This is that point of the race too, right? Where a lot of guys who've gotten, a couple of positions, a little position by attrition here with this late caution. The teammates, like you said, split up for Smoky Mountain Motorsports. Will they be able to get back together and give them a run? I mean, they have been just so fast all night long. Should be fun to watch them try to make some moves here and make it happen.
Yeah, some of those guys that were a lap down, looks like they all got their lap back somehow.
Well, remember, don't forget that Vince Burns and Vernon Broadbeck, they're both Roadrunner Motorsports. They're both teammates. So I would suspect that we'll see a little bit of adjustments on this restart that allows the 55 and the 10 to get together.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And they'll have a lot of control here, right? One on the inside, one on the outside. If they can communicate with each other, they can really control the pace of the entire race here coming off this restart.
Yeah, I think
ideally
I think you may just see that they'll end up. Well, we'll see. I don't know what's in their Discord. I can't imagine what their strategy is right now, what they're saying. But we sit up here and pontificate as to what we think can happen, and we're almost always wrong.
the best laid plans, right? That's always the way it goes. Ideally, you'd think they want to be nose to tail, but you never know.
Pace cars dropped off the racing surface. It's now up to Vince Burns. He enters the Geico restart zone, and we are underway.
That's a big jump for him on that restart.
Wow.
Really got out there.
But you saw he did that, and his teammate probably held back that line a little bit. And here we are, nose to tail, on the outside line.
That outside line still holding serve. They've got a good run going up there. And that inside line, there it is again.
Caution again is out.
Oh, it looks like it's going to get quite a few of them this time.
Oh gosh, a Ty Bostic.
Boy.
That one took more than a few, I think. Yeah.
Well, cautions breed caution. We've said that a half dozen times.
Yeah.
So I've got Mike Campeggio, Jeremy Cote. I'm sure I'm butchering that poor guy's name. Corianis, Shane Trotter also involved. Garrett Walden too. So Jordan Wedsell, Simon Magin, lots of drivers. Let's see if we can go back to the beginning and see where this all started. So looking at the 5 of Mike Campeggio here.
Whoa, up there in the front. Somebody just shot into the wall.
He took a hard right up into that top line.
Yeah, that just smells like a push gone bad.
And it's like you were saying before, if you don't hit the back of that car square, that'll be the result every time.
So you can see the 46 is kind of out of shape there.
And I can't tell if it was because of a touch from the 31 or.
Well, we can go back and look real quick, see if we can figure that out.
Yeah, you'd have to think there was a little bit of touching and rubbing there.
Right there. So it looks like he tapped the right rear and enough to spin him out. The 43 goes around. 48 gets involved.
And then the 31 gets payback. The 9 gets into him.
That's just a product of this kind of racing, right? Just checking up
and
rubbing around. It's tough.
Oh, there's 4 contact. That's the 5 into, unfortunately, Ty Bostic.
We'll take out 22. The 99.
So 22 gets wrecked.
Always tough when it's a situation where you're coming onto that apron. You know, that angle is so steep. You can end up shooting back up the track like that. It sucks. It's unfortunate for these guys who get caught up in those kinds of things.
5 is basically just super glued to the bumper, that 22.
Yeah.
But okay, so so that's what we see. We saw a lot. Now with just 13 laps to go, we're into caution. We probably should go back to green flag with somewhere about 11 laps to go.
And all that team strategy, just throw right out the window.
Well, except for the fact that the 55 and 10 is going to get a chance to do it all over again because they're back up front.
Yeah.
Got about 10, 12 guys just sitting in the pits getting work done. Got the cars all banged up and just trying to get them put back together enough to get back out on the track. Down to 13 laps to go.
It's required repairs only at this stage of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Lucas Whitehead is up there in third, but his drafting partner's back in seventh. So that's
pretty respectable.
That's not too bad. They're fairly close. If they can get together, they stand a chance of being able to get up there and give Roadrunner Motorsports a battle.
All right, with 12 laps to go, we'll take the green flag coming to the line at lap 11. This is only our third caution of the night. We still have, based on this, 33 cars still on the lead lap. Ty Bostic finds himself in the unenviable position to be in the last car on the lead lap. And John DeRudris, since we were talking about him earlier, is now in 24th position.
Good recovery
on the lead lap. Yep.
He's had a roller coaster of a night tonight. Front to back, back to front, down a lap, and back right kind of where he started.
Yeah.
So if you're asking why are these guys talking about DeRudris so much, John was in the booth last year with us and is in the booth with us on Wednesday nights, and he figured, you know what? He liked watching these guys so much he decided to race with them this season. So
he's getting his money's worth so far tonight.
He is, yeah. Yep. He's had the highs and the lows.
Getting ready to come back, coming out of 4, coming to the tri-oval, and we'll be going green.
And the 55 of Vince Burns is our control car. Back underway and gets a great jump that allows him to move up to the outside and meet up with his teammate, Vernon Broadbeck.
Yeah, they ran that strategy right back, just the way they did on the last restart.
Yeah.
28 of Joe Musso is right there in third. 31 of Alex Murphy, not too far behind. And that outside line is taking a good jump. The low line is not organized. In fact, most drivers have moved up to that outside line.
Yeah, that just kills those guys in the 33 and the 7 because they had a good line behind them, and then all of a sudden everybody bailed, went to the upper line, and now they're down there by themselves.
Tell you what, though, that little 3-car line on the inside is hanging tough. They are gaining a little bit of ground. Those two teammates separated by 1 car on that bottom line.
Got the 33 of Lucas Whitehead there. You got Caleb Lamb in the 7. And that's the 48 of Austin Wheeler there. Yeah, 33 is getting a great push by the 7.
Yeah, they want to go. They want to give these guys one more shot to kind of take a cut to the top and make it interesting here at the end.
Well, and further on back, there's a lot of 3-wide action going on. They're not doing themselves any favors. That's broke up a bit. That's probably the best that could happen for those folks. But with only 9 laps left, if you're going to make a move, you've got to do it now because there's no telling if you ever have another chance.
Yeah, that inside line has caught them now. They're right up there. It's gonna be a battle to the finish.
Well, they got a lot of help. They had nothing, and now they've got a freight train behind them.
Well, there he goes to the top.
Oh, caution's back out.
Oh,
Yeah, that second pack. Somebody went for a ride.
Martin Giroux is off the pace. He may have been involved in that. Watching the 50 of Martin Giroux. The 96 is beneath. See, the 21 is trying to throw it. The 72 is right there, and there's the contact with the 50.
Yeah.
That's the 72 of Schultz.
so that's a tough move. One that you probably don't need to make at this stage of the race, but 3 wide there is tough.
Yeah, especially
trying to
when the
make
other
room.
guys don't know there's you're going 3 wide. He was trying to squeeze it in there, and there just wasn't enough room.
That was the 72 of Jai Schultz, who unfortunately turned the 50 of Martin Giroux. All right, so with 8 laps to go, that absolutely changes the complexion of this race because Lucas Whitehead now finds himself out in front. Austin Wheeler, his teammate, is now in 4th. So they're going to be right up front with Caleb Lamb, Vince Burns, and Vernon Broadbeck. It's going to be the battle between Roadrunner Motorsports and Smoky Mountain Motorsports.
It's like you talked about too, the keys to the race, being able to race around your teammates and be in that draft with them and get those advantages. It'll be interesting to see how, this restart here will be the first one we've seen in a few where teammates won't line up side by side.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Smoky Mountain's got the inside lane and the other partner in the outside lane. And Roadrunner Motorsports, same deal. They've got one guy on the inside, one guy on the outside. No, I take that back. They're nose to tail, 3rd and 5th.
Well, it also may depend on where Lucas lines up if he chooses to take the inside or the outside.
Yeah.
And they could put, if he takes the outside lane, there's a chance that he'll wind up with Austin Wheeler, his teammate, right on his bumper.
Yeah, could be.
So that little bit of prophecy by one of our YouTube viewers may be coming to fruition. We'll see how it goes. His crystal ball must be Karnak out there. So we'll see.
I'll tell you this: we have gotten our money's worth on this race tonight. We've seen it all. We've seen guys battling hard. We've seen guys running well. We've seen pit strategy. We've seen teammates get together. We've seen battles for the lead all night long. And now it's going to come down probably about 5 laps to go or so when we take the green. And it's going to be a little sprint to the finish.
This is where we'll see how aggressive guys want to be. We were talking earlier, the first race of the season, it's a long race, and it's an easy one to make a lot of friends in, but equally as easy to make an enemy, too, here at the late stages.
Yep, you're right.
So it does look like he took that outside lane, putting his partner right behind him. So Lucas Whitehead has elected to take the outside starting position. That puts Caleb Lamb to his inside. Austin Wheeler behind, and Vince Burns behind Caleb. And he's got his teammate behind him. So shaping up to be a fantastic finish here, guys. Next time by, we'll be back to green.
And you got Caleb Lamb and Vince Burns in there in the middle of it all. So be interesting to see how this shakes out.
Yeah, if I'm Caleb Lamb in that 7 car, I am pulling my seatbelt extra tight. With all these team drivers around me, he's gonna have to fight them off a little bit to make sure he stays at the front.
Yeah, he's got a tough spot because he's leading that inside line, but he's got guys right behind him that are hard charging, and he's either going to get in their way or he's going to get moved.
It's about that time. 3 wide. We've seen it at the back. But so, you know, without pulling my crystal ball out, you get the sneaking suspicion that you might come see it here with six to go.
Yep. Coming around out of the turn 4, heading for the tri-oval, and looks like we'll be taking the green flag. If I was a betting man, I don't know who I'd put money on right now.
Good jump by the 33 and the 48. The 55 of Vince Burns moved up to the outside line. And the 10 sneaks his way in there as well. That's going to definitely put some momentum behind that outside line with these drivers. And the 48 is just pushing the 33 around.
Oh, yeah. He's just glued to his bumper.
Yeah, they're trying to outrun these guys. The 55 and the 10. The 10 on the bottom line there. They might have an opportunity to make something happen here.
He's got a good push by the 7, trying to get him through. Oh, gets him out of shape big time.
Ooh. Good save. Good save by Werner Broadbeck there in that 10 car.
55 moves down in front of his teammate.
Here's where it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, that's the move we were waiting for, right?
Through. Yep. My, oh my.
A little bit of contact between the 8 and the 48 and the 81 on the high line. That has just got everybody jammed up. We're 3 wide in spots. There's 4 laps to go here, and now all the gloves are off. We are 3 wide.
They've cut Whitehead and Wheeler out. Just left them hanging out there on that outside line.
Yeah, nobody really there to help them along. Talk about getting put on the clothesline. That's you know.
Wrecking. 55 contact. He saves it. Green stays out. He's still. Trying to find the 55. He makes it back. The green has not changed. We're still. Oh, that's contact.
Whoa.
Big banging.
Oh.
How do we survive that and not wreck?
A lot of beating and banging for all these guys to keep it straight and moving forward here. I suspect that's not the last bit of violence we'll see here.
3 laps to go.
Yeah, the winner in that deal was Smoky Mountain Motorsports. The 33 and the 48 are back up there in contention now. And Werner Broadbeck in that 10 does not have his teammate with him. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah, after that incident, the 55 is all the way back in 24th. So we experimented with a 3 wide. It didn't quite work out, I think, the way they had expected.
Be interesting to see here how far that 33 wants to push the 10 out in front of them as they get lock bumpers here. That's going to be one of the ways that the Smoky Mountain Motorsports drivers can get a little bit of a slingshot going.
Oh yeah, he's gonna abandon him. I'm guessing somewhere in between turn 3 and 4, and for 33 and the 48 will just zip around. White flag is out. Final lap.
Well, the good news is no green-white checker.
That's right. Whatever happens here happens. Let's see what happens right now. We're coming out of turn 2 onto the backstretch.
Got a little bit of a breakaway there.
Yeah, the Smoky Mountain guys are just licking their chops here. This is a huge opportunity.
Yeah, here it comes right here as they come through turn 3.
Yep, there he goes.
Right in the middle between 3 and 4. Hold it together. Good push. We'll push the 33 to the victory. There you have it.
Ken's making her.
Lucas Whitehead wins the Daytona 250. Austin Wheeler in second, and Vernon Broadback will finish in third. That's your top three. That's unofficial. We'll wait to see how it all plays out. But a fabulous finish here at Daytona.
They couldn't executed that move any more perfectly. Just the way they drew it up, and pays off big time for them.
That was some excellent team driving there. Those guys, I mean, I thought their goose was cooked when they went backwards in that outside line. And they held it together, stayed together as closely as they could, and ended up finding each other again. And look at that, came out on top.
We got to find that guy who was in the YouTube chat there. He had a crystal ball or something.
Yep. He just posted Smoky Mountain 1-2, let's go, and they did. See, they celebrate. Oh, someone just flew by the 33 as he's about to do his burnout. He's kind of trapped on that little bit of that variance between the apron and the track. Oh, and he just said, okay, I'm good. I'm done. All right, race results are in. Let's go ahead and bring those up.
There you see it. Lucas Whitehead winning for Smoky Mountain Motorsports in that 33 car, followed by Austin Wheeler in second, Vernon Broadbeck in third, Jeremy Cote in fourth, Jordan Wenzel in fifth, Matt Peruzin in sixth, or
Parasini.
I butchered his name, Parasini. Eric Jeffers in seventh, Keith Fonseca in eighth, Austin Walton in ninth, Josh Douglas in 10th, Shane Trotter in 11th, Caleb Lamb in 12th, Martin Giroux 13th, John DeRuger has made it all the way up to 14th. Great run. Tyler Lame in 15th, Alex Murphy in 16th, and Mike Wheel in 17th.
All right, in 18th, you've got Corey. Oh, a little bit too fast there, guy. In 18th, you've got Corey Ennis. 19th, finished Ty Bostic. Jai Schultz in 20th. Mike Campeggio in 21st. Paul Irvin, 22nd. Ron Fitting, 23rd. Simon Magin, 24th. Jonathan Varanakis in 25th. Bradley Reese in 26th. Jeff Ramsdale in 27th. Tony Japs in 28th. Vince Burns, 29th. Not the night that Vince Burns was hoping for. And 30th, Martin Pinnell.
Yep. Jacob Mossau in 31st, Garrett Walden 32nd, John Ledger 33rd, Joe Mossau in 34th, Tyler Sexton 35th, Michael Whitley Jr. in 36th, Robin Maldonado in 37th, Scott Thomas 38th, Richard Mills 39th, and we've talked about Corey Bunch. Rough break for Corey Bunch tonight, coming in dead last, but I have a feeling we'll see him make his way back up.
All right, let's go ahead and talk to Vernon Broadbeck. Let's bring Vernon into the broadcast booth. All right,
I'm so pissed off.
Vernon, congratulations. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
Congratulations on your finish. We were just talking about that we knew that Vince was certainly not happy. He was right there with you running, and it's unfortunate with the incident that he finished further back in the field.
Yeah, that sucks. Obviously, I didn't want to have it come down to that. I made a move to try to block a run, and then he moved up as well. I wasn't expecting that. After I made the move up, and then we made contact with each other, and yeah, that's unfortunate. You hate to see teammates get into contact with each other like that, but yeah, I'm sure we'll talk it out, and we'll be good to go as we get into next week.
Well, definitely congratulations on your finish. You know, it was pretty much a clean race. We didn't see a whole lot of cautions until that latter stage here, but you know, some good racers out there with some new folks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was obviously the cleanest Daytona race we've had in iNRS history to start a season, especially with 40 drivers. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely. Any shout-outs tonight, Vernon?
Obviously, teammates. Austin didn't really have that great a race. He finished top 10, so actually that worked out well. Vince ran a phenomenal race. shout out to him. Clark, he sat there and hung out with us. Unfortunately, not able to make it in the race. And shout out to you guys, and Josh and Scott for hosting a great league. Hopefully, we'll have a phenomenal year. Maybe less cautions than what last year brought. And then, not really a shout out, but I know Jordan Wenzel wasn't too happy with me on the move I made on lap 98. So, my bad, Jordan. If you're listening, watching this, I was just trying to make a move to stay up at the front. Obviously, with that late to go, I didn't want to put you in a bad situation.
All right, well, there you have it. That's Vernon Brabeck finishing in third here at Daytona. Vernon, you're welcome to hang out or go talk to Vince. You're all good. So let's bring Mr. Austin Wheeler into the broadcast booth. Austin, congratulations on your second place finish. Good, definitely a great night for Smoky Mountain Motorsports.
Yeah, man, good race, fun race. I enjoyed it.
You guys had a long period of time in the middle of the race there where you guys just hung out at the front, first and second, for a number of laps, and then somehow got separated there towards the end. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm glad the caution came out there with 18 or 19 to go because I think a lot of folks had saved fuel and we were on a mission to stay up front. So we were kind of in the back seat as far as that strategy went. We had to pit again, but the caution came out and I took tires by accident. I thought I had them unchecked and I didn't, so that set me back in the field a little bit, but able to work my way back up through.
Well, congratulations on that. So this is your first season with iNRS?
Yes, sir. Yeah, this is the first time here. I'm running the Cup Series and their Xfinity Series full time this year, so I'm excited for the season, and we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your second place finish. No better way to well, there's one better way, but no better way to start it out. Any shout outs tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I started on the pole and got to push my teammate to the win, so that was another great night. But
absolutely.
I'd like to thank Wheels Painting, Cash Customs, all the other sponsors on the car, and thank my team. Unfortunately, there's 2 of the 4 of us that made the field tonight, but hopefully for the rest of the season and weeks to come, we can all 4 being here and get the job done.
You got it. All right, that's your second place finisher tonight. That's Austin Wheeler, and with that, we'll bring in the winner of tonight's Daytona 250 here in the iNRS Racing Series, Mr. Lucas Whitehead and Smoky Mountain Motorsports.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're doing great. Congratulations on your win. You and Austin did a fabulous job, especially at the end there. Definitely some masterful strategy there.
Yeah, definitely. When we got shuffled back that during it, and I didn't know if we was gonna get back to the front. Luckily, we had a good run there and stuck it up against the wall and just prayed we got through the other side, and we did.
Yeah, we thought you guys were done when you went, started going backwards there towards the end with a few laps to go. But somehow you found each other, made it your way back up to the front, and then just a masterful pass with both of you coming off of turn 3 or 4 there at the end, and made your way to the finish line first.
Yeah, we definitely we got lucky, and once we started seeing we was gaining speed and getting by guys, I was like, "Come on, Austin, we got this. We're not done yet." And when we got up there, I decided I'm gonna push him out here as far as we can and give him no help, and we're just gonna go low, and that's the end of it.
Well, it worked perfectly. Great job.
Thank you. Just want to thank Cash Customs and Wheeler's Painting and more, and Premier Setup Shop and Reaper Apparel. Definitely want to thank all them.
You got it. Well, there's your winner, folks. Lucas Whitehead with Smoky Mountain Motorsports wins the first race of the iNRS Racing Series. And looking ahead, Lucas, next week is Atlanta. You ready for Atlanta?
Definitely ready for Atlanta, especially coming off this win. So we still have some good momentum as a team. Hopefully we have another good showing there. And I also want to thank you guys for what you do in the broadcast, and everybody that puts all this on. You all do a great job.
You got it. All right, thank you so much, Lucas, and we wish you luck next week.
Thank you, Seans.
You got it. All right, guys, great race tonight, and super thankful to have you guys both in the booth tonight.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoy broadcasting with 3 people in the booth. It's you get a more of a broader perspective. You get to hear each person's thoughts on matters, and I think it makes for a good solid broadcast. Hopefully we can do a little more of that. I know we're trading off officially, but maybe we can keep all 3 of us in here for more often.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun. This was a lot of fun learning and listening, and appreciate everybody being patient with me. My first night out here with you guys. But if that's the start to this season, I look forward to the rest. So a lot of fun, guys.
Yes,
Got
sir.
it. All right, folks. Thanks again for tuning in tonight to the IWM broadcast of the tech for the iNRS Racing Series. I'll figure this out sooner or later. We really appreciate you all tuning in, and hope you have a great night. From myself and the rest of the broadcast team, thank you and good night.